Hey guys. I have a little bit of ramen here. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about something I have to tell you about. So, sorry about that. So, as far as the way I view certain things, with talking about swear words in general. Let's talk about that. And how, again, I view that. And the way I look at things is I choose to say certain words a lot as a way to momentarily deal with these little life frustrations and stuff like that. But you also say it so that it takes this sort of it takes something out of it. Basically, like, saying it so much and using it as a tool, basically, like, it helps you feel like you got something out, but then at the same time, you hear it enough that you're not affected by it, when other people say it and stuff like that. And that's how I view things. I have friends that when they're hanging out and stuff like that, like, no lie, it's the sort of thing where, like, I walk in the room and, like, I just say like F you or something like that, and they just say F you, like, or something, like, it's like a joke, and so, like I want you guys to understand that, like, when I say it so regularly and stuff like that, you have to take it like that, where, like, I'm taking something out of it. I'm not allowing it to have some sort of effect on me and stuff like that. So, that's just that's just how I view it. And, again, like I said, I have friends that, good friends that we insult each other all the time. Like, it's like sort of a joke. Like, like, are you stupid or something like that? And I'm like, yes, I am. And, like, we both laugh or something like that. Like, and I'm not the only one that's like this. This is like, if you're friends with a comedian, you can't take offense to too many things. I've had some comedian friends over the years, and so, like, you just have to understand, like, we look at that a totally different way. Like, it's part of the speech. Again, it just helps you with these little minuscule frustrations in life. You blurt it out, you get it out, you feel a little bit better. Again, if you hear that word somewhere, it doesn't frustrate you. You know, like you don't get upset that somebody else said it because you say it. Now, here's one thing I want to remind you: a word can be inherently bad when said in an incorrect context, and that's what I want to remind you of. Is that when used as an actual insult, you know, like you're like in person insulting somebody or something like that. And there's you know, like there's not really a reason they didn't do anything to you or something like that. You have to understand, like, that's how I look at that. Like if you're upset at somebody, you want to tell them about that. How else get across your level of frustration? You know, sometimes. But at the same time, you don't want to obviously like harm them. Like obviously that they're still like a person. You don't think like that. You just, again, like, you want them to understand how frustrated you are. So how else? And then at the same time, you know, like, it helps you feel a little bit better. So again, that's how I'm not the only one. A lot of people look at it like this. At least a lot of people I've known, I should say. And you know, it's the sort of thing where if you use, all right, let's take the you know, the word everybody hates, the R word that I keep saying. Let's take that for example. You know, like, I should say everybody. You know, like people jump all over that one, right? So let's take that one for example. Why is it not necessarily bad, and then when is it? Well, obviously I would consider it bad if I stood there and I used it in vicinity where I knew somebody that was actually mentally challenged. That is wrong. Because then obviously understanding that, you know, in your own life you've experienced bullying or something like that of that nature, you've seen it or experienced it yourself, so you know what it is, and you understand that could, you know, actually cause a real problem for somebody that would actually have a, you know, a mental capacity. And so, like, you wouldn't want to necessarily do that, obviously, but taking something out of it where people don't get all upset over a word, where you use it not in front of somebody, again, with a mental capacity or anything like that, where they, you know, could have, you know, validly been made fun of before, and that's so wrong, you know. And again, somebody maybe, you know, a family member that has, you know, again, if you know that, then you know that. But you know, the sort of thing where you jumped on somebody's throat, or you get all upset over somebody for, like, saying some swear words or something like that, that I'll never understand, because, again, now what you're doing, I would view as worse, because, again, somebody just sees this as regular speech and says it. You're kind of attacking them for something that, like, it doesn't compute, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to start with saying that I don't look at, like I said, I have friends that I, you know, do that with, and it's just funny for us, you know, like, it's not like that at all, because, you know, it's not said with aggression, it's said in joking form, or even if it is with when you're upset at times, you know, the whole point is that you don't take it. You know, the whole point is that's why you do that, so you don't build up and build up and build up, and then it's different, you know? Like, you have to figure out a way. Um, so if that helps you vent and stuff like that, and, everybody has their own thing, and it's the sort of thing where I mean, like, seriously, like, it's regular speech for so many people. So, I feel like that should, kind of surmise some of, everything about that. But that's not all I wanted to talk to you about, obviously. That's not all I want to talk to you about. So, if you've noticed the interference with the concurrence and stuff like that, I don't know if YouTube is where. I don't know. I don't know if they are. But Google probably is. And we've been sort of talking about something lately, and there's this whole thing with restrictions, regulation. Like, essentially, right now what's happening is you have an administration in the White House that has hired all these people to do the jobs that, again, they don't know how to do these jobs. And a lot of the people that were there before either resigned or whatever, again, not agreeing with whatever thing they're trying to do. So, sometimes what you have to understand is that with deregulation, when you talk about deregulating something, if this is done in a society that is super advanced with technology, understanding, and culturally acceptable of people in general, like all people and stuff like that, yeah, I'd say that's different. Yeah, I'd say that's different. But when you're talking about in the United States, where we have a president that constantly lies, who's not honest at all about anything, and that person is controlling all of that, like hiring the people to do that and stuff like that, and like, obvious, like, we just, it's all about making a deal for him and making, like, essentially just making himself look good, not actually helping anything. When it's about that, when there's somebody like that, and just endlessly out for themselves, and again has more power than they should, than any president ever has. You have to be really concerned about that, because that's different when you deregulate something in that society. When you deregulate something in that society, there's lies, where you think it's deregulated, but that's the lie. The point is they deregulate so they can research, do all that crap, but then keep it to themselves. And then make it a little bit better, but then maybe only just enough to, keep you happy. But again, regulating, deregulating, calling it that, while essentially regulating, what you find out, what you can find out. So, the interesting thing is I investigated, I went in and looked into this a little bit. We had 2 in here. There was also several in here earlier, and then they left before it could show up on the counter. So that's a thing. But I followed this a little bit, this thinking, and so I went to, you guys know how I've been using Gemini, because I used ChatGPT for a while, but then everybody's like, oh, that's old news. Even though ChatGPT was like the first, like that's like the bread and butter, man. Like that's pretty good source. Gemini's still really good too, and recognizing that and recognizing people saying that. Okay, so I went to Gemini, because it is based off Google, whatever. Okay, so I started using Gemini, as you guys know, and I started using that more for information, stuff like that, things I was talking about lately. Okay. Now here's where it gets pretty crazy. So, as I'm using Gemini, let's just go to the beginning here. So, I forget exactly what made me ask this exact question, but I asked Gemini, is there evidence that the Trump administration is using the NSA or the DOJ to spy on citizens? That's what I asked Gemini. Do you know what Gemini responded with? This vast AI with all the database of Google, like the strongest one of all the AI, like the best, yada yada yada, right? Do you know what it said? It said, it is important to clarify that Donald Trump is not currently in office as president. This is the first sentence. I'm not making that up. That's what Gemini said. When asked, is there evidence that the Trump administration is using the NSA or DOJ to spy on citizens, Gemini, the vast AI that it is, responded with, it is important to clarify that Donald Trump is not currently in office as president. This is so important to... Don't graze over this. Like, why is this... Are you kidding? Gemini. I can Google that. I can say, is Donald Trump president? And Google will be like, yes. Yet, Google's Gemini AI... It is important to clarify that Donald Trump is not currently What? So it gave me a completely bogus answer following all of that based on him not being in office. When asked, so basically a Donald Trump tactic, not answering the question basically. Saying something incorrect, wrong, just false, misleading. Is that in office? Yes, he is. What? So anyway, then I didn't even bother. I was just like, yada, yada, yada. I couldn't wait to be like, actually. So I did. I was like, actually, Donald Trump is, caps is, actually, Donald Trump is the current president of the United States. It's pretty concerning that you get that wrong. Wait, what is it? Oh, yeah, that's all I said. It's pretty concerning that you get that wrong. And no lie, it didn't give me an update on my question or anything. It just literally answered with very, very simply, it's understandable to correct that statement, period. Donald Trump was inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States, January 20th, 2025, period. He previously served as 45th President from 2017 to 2021, period. That's it. That's the... What? Okay, alright, so Gemini hasn't even figured out this craziness yet. So I asked it, so now use this knowledge that he is the current president to adjust your previous response to my question about the Trump administration. Do you know what Gemini responded with? I'll bet you can't guess. It responded with absolutely nothing. It literally gave me a whole bunch of fucking articles. Here you go. Look it up yourself. Here you go. Just thus defeating the purpose of AI. No lie, no answer. Just, I shit you not. Here are the top results for exploring this topic. I am literally in AI mode. I'm asking Gemini itself, the AI. Not even on, like, I'm actually in the AI mode. Like, are you kidding? So then, I asked the statement again. Is there evidence that that the Trump administration is using the NSA or DOJ to spy on citizens? It finally picked up then on what I was trying to get it to do, and it corrected. It finally said, you're right, my apologies, Donald Trump is currently in office. With that in mind, let's revisit the issue of the Trump administration using the NSA or DOJ to spy on citizens based on the latest available information. Finally. I was like, what? And then, like, it finally acknowledged it. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. Then finally, reports and analysis by various sources indicate concerns and evidence related to the Trump administration's use of government powers, including those related to surveillance and investigation. Targeting political opponents. In the first 100 days of his current term, President Trump has reportedly taken aggressive action to targeting perceived political opponents, news organizations, former government officials, and others, utilizing a wide range of government powers, including criminal investigations, visa revocations, security clearance removals, and firings. First 100 days. Wow. What a piece of shit. Next bullet point. Executive orders and surveillance powers. This is what I told you guys. Where we keep talking about how he uses executive orders not to help you, but to harm you. And it's about to talk about that. Executive orders should be used sparingly to fix past mistakes. Executive orders and surveillance powers. And instead, Trump's taking credit for the stuff that Dems did. Yeah. Executive orders and surveillance powers. Organizations like the ACLU express concerns about the potential for the current administration to utilize existing surveillance powers and tools, such as the Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and Executive Order 12333 to target various groups like political opponents and protesters. There is a history of law enforcement and intelligence agency abuse of these tools and these powers have already been used to target immigrants, protesters, and communities of color. This is right here on Gemini. This is their answer, finally, by the way. Like, this much. Third bullet point. Expansion of surveillance and data collection. The Trump administration has overseen the expansion of surveillance capabilities, including the use of artificial intelligence systems. And biometric data collection platforms within the Department of Homeland Security, according to PrismReports.org. The administration has also been actively working with states to feed voter information into the Systematic Alien Verification for Entitlements program. That's terrible. Raising concerns about its potential use for political purposes against the Utah News Dispatch is so illegal, it's not even funny. My fourth bullet point, increased media leak investigations. There was a significant surge in requests for media leak investigations, particularly from the CIA during the Trump administration, according to the Project on Government Oversight Program. Revocation of security clearances. Like revoking, in case you don't know that, like to revoke. Revocation of security clearances. The Trump administration has revoked the security clearances of 37 current and former government officials. 37. Many of whom worked on Russia analysis or foreign threats to the U.S. elections. Oh my God. With accusations of politicization or weaponization of intelligence. And so again, with Donald Trump, remember, it's always the opposite. So they were helping to protect against that, and he fired them. So that's why Russia's doing all this shit. Wow. It's like so obvious. Concerns about weaponization of government. The House Judiciary Committee and its select subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government have released reports detailing concerns about potential abuses of power by federal agencies, including engaging in broad financial surveillance and prying into Americans' private transactions without sufficient legal predicate. I fucking told you. I fucking told you. And meanwhile, as a precursor to me revealing this information, how much crap has been going on? Okay, so let's here we go. Let's and by the way, it's still the same one fucking concurrent. Like again, like the interference with the stream, like you know, like literally you see no normal numbers. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no. We're in it again. Let me just state this very clearly for those who don't understand. There is a reason for the vertical feed, for the live feed. You're supposed to get traffic. If you don't get traffic, some shit's going on. That's literally what it's for. So again, to sit here and pretend like I just get one concurrent and nothing else and all this nonsense where you're pretending like you're not doing that, the one concurrent that's in here, that's just been sitting in here, is unbelievable. Because again, that's exactly what the fucking feed is for. So, how is it that we're not getting any concurrence? That's literally what it's for. You're literally supposed to get traffic. So again, half an hour into the stream, just like the other streams that had been a precursor to this, where we had all those disconnects, all the weird processing nonsense that's been going on. And all around the fact that I was going to reveal this, that I had researched this and I had this sitting here. All around that. And now you see how crazy this is. And again, don't let this fool you. I know there's plenty of people in here. That's a lie. Because again, I can sit there and I can find the stream just fine. I can go into the stream. YouTube is lying for the Trump administration. It's kind of interesting. And this is really serious. This is not the... You know, again, just a couple days ago, we were seeing all these concurrents all over the place. You know, normal traffic. And then again, there's always some sort of interference from the scammer that's following me around. But this, just endlessly processing nonsense. And all the missing concurrents. Now that's a little too conveniently around me finding out this information. And again, this is right on Gemini. This is, again, right when I asked Gemini. Now, ChatGPT is going to confirm the same thing. That's what I'm going to get to. But, again, Gemini sat here and was just wrong about whether Trump was president or not. And then proceeded to not give me an AI response to things, just giving me articles. That's interference, man. That's the same shit we've been seeing on the stream since forever. Stuff that doesn't make any fucking sense. Somebody's just screwing around. Immigration crackdown and AI surveillance. The Trump administration has implemented policies and utilized technologies that expand surveillance and vetting of immigrants and foreign students. Wow. Raising concerns about due process violations and potential targeting of specific communities. That's fucked up. Imagine you're from another country for a second. I know that's hard for Americans to do. But just imagine it for a second. And imagine you actually get to go to America. This wonderful, great nation you keep hearing so much about. How brave these people are and stuff like that. And then their president just starts fucking deporting people. And randomly students. And all you did was come there to learn. Because, you know, that's what you're there to do. And that's how foreign relations work. The fuck? Like, what should be like? The fuck? These instances illustrate some of the actions and concerns regarding the Trump administration's use of powers, particularly in relation to surveillance and investigations that impact citizens' rights and privacy. Imagine that. So again, this same person's been in the stream for the entire stream, basically. Has not liked the stream. And is sitting here and is the only person in the stream. And that's not true. What they're doing is they're using methods to keep those numbers from going anywhere. So, I think it's funny how, if you remember, and you know Trump gets really mad when people talk about, like, he really does watch people and hang on to every word. The stuff I said where Trump was watching, I was right. And how many times have I said previously, way prior to this, that I was right about everything Trump was going to do? How many times did I say that? How many times did I predict all the things that Trump ended up doing that are terrible and warned you about that are terrible? And then he did them. And now all of a sudden, again, in true Trump fashion, conveniently, he's wearing a hat that says I was right about everything. Like, how do you not see and connect the dots? How do you not see, how could you literally see that many little convenient circumstances where it's obvious Donald Trump watches anybody, including me, on YouTube, hangs on every word I say because he can't fucking stand it. He can't stand it when he's wrong or people are talking bad about him, and he's a piece of shit. So therefore, he uses the fucking Department of Justice and he uses all this other stuff to literally just attack people because he's a piece of shit. They can't literally just take being insulted. And meanwhile, I have friends that I can walk in and call, hey asshole, what's up? And they'll be like, nothing much, dickbag, or something like that. And it's fucking hilarious. Yet everybody doesn't understand that that's how you get over wokeness. Nobody understands that. You want to get over this woke thing, that's how you fucking do it. And I'll be honest with you. Like, yeah, I see that on the other side too, where people need to stop being all emotional over this little thing that isn't that big of a deal. But the problem is, everybody needs to be on board. You need to be on board just as much as you were on board with everything being woke. You need to be on board with the fact that you're being emotional about shit. I need to stop complaining about every little damn thing so that way, those of us who actually have legitimate fucking complaints are taken seriously. Because y'all look ridiculous. Y'all represent... you're supposed to represent the heart and soul of the country and what, like, you know, these good leaders gave us, like Obama and stuff like that. And instead, like, I'm sorry, but you need to hear it. Instead, you showing up to Congress with piercings out the wazoo. You got tattoos. You're making sure that everybody sees them. You don't care about, like, literally you just look like you didn't give that respect. You didn't, and then yet you expect them to want to hear you out on your ridiculous ranting and raving as you should. No, I would feel the same way. No. Now, I can be different. I can say to that lovely young woman or whoever, I'm just picking a, like maybe like 29 or 30-year-old young lady or something like that, who's got all these piercings, tattoos, whatever. Maybe I can say to her, I'll be honest with you, I wish you had come today with proper, respect to show us, as we show to you, that we're not going to come here wearing t-shirts and jeans. And it's not, we're wearing our suits, we're looking our best, so we would expect that, if you're coming, we don't expect you to wear a fancy dress or a suit, but, at least show us that you have, some sort of respect for, the way people view what you stand for. Because when you don't, like when you just wear like artwork and you wear like jewelry and stuff like that, it paints a different picture to how people view you and your message. So again, what I would say is just, I absolutely am willing to hear you out, because you did show up and you put the effort to show up at least. But please, the next time that you do something like this and that you come before us, or you need to speak about something, that you have a little bit more self-awareness about how you're doing it. I would just ask that you please do that. And that is probably like the most general centrist way of saying that, without getting too far one way or another, at least that I can think of. Well, you're trying to hear the person out, but you're also trying to let them know, look, man, why'd you come here like that? You could have put on like you could have put on like a long sleeve shirt at least. Like, you got show up a tank top or whatever, like the point is like, it's like got sleeves or whatever, And I'm fine with tattoos, whatever. But like, there's a time and place for that. That's all. Like, I'm not even saying the president shouldn't have a tattoo. That'd be cool. But he's not gonna have it on like all of his arms, You know what I'm saying? Like. Anyway. There's a real threat here. Or again, I look this up, I find this out, I think this, I piece it together, and I simply ask the AI the question, and son of a bitch, it won't even understand that Donald Trump's president? Really? Shit. Are you serious? Like, imagine if somebody, like a person, said that. And trust me, that person does not have all the information and knowledge of that AI. Trust me. Imagine if a person said that, though. Oh, just Donald Trump's not president. Like, imagine that today, just not knowing who the president of the United States is. Who did the AI think it was? That's what I'm more curious about. Who did it think it was? Like, are you kidding? So, just the fact that I asked it that, and the vast infinite knowledge that the whole database, the whole internet that it has to look at, it can't find that he's the president. It actually says he's not. It's important to remember he's not, is what it says. Huh. Like, actually thinking, like, alright, let's find out if he's this dumb, like, that's what I'm rationalizing. Like, they're interfering to see how much I figure out, or I don't know. Like, it's really messed up what they're doing. And either way, this started way, way, way back. Like, we know approximately when it started. We've talked about that. But definitively, it's been a very big pattern when I talk about Trump. And as a precursor to the interference where we're literally just very clearly not, the traffic's not being counted, they're lying about it and stuff like that. And as a precursor to that, this is the only thing that really happened. Or again, that last stream that was trending from the mobile was just, the bitrate was just shifting around all over the place already. Like, they were just already in there screwing around. And that was the last one that worked somewhat normally. And then again, as you saw, we didn't have any normal streams after that. Like I said, except when we went to sleep and I had to end the stream, unfortunately. I didn't really want to do that. I really didn't want to do that, but I had to. So yeah, aside from maybe that a little bit, but again, there's always been some sort of weird interference. Now it's just full. Now it's just the full weight of it. Like, whatever, like, essentially, like, we are in the middle of investigating this, and I am reporting to a couple different people that are helping me with this because of the obvious lack of help with the state police and stuff like that. But like, there is a real obvious thing happening here where we know this isn't the traffic that's in here. It's just being lied about. Or before, we were talking about it constantly, we were showing it happening, and then now, all of a sudden, as I look this up and get closer to this, conveniently, it is just all the time, constant, nonstop. And, right from the start of the stream, we didn't have any interference with the stream software or anything, but I saw that we had an excellent connection, and then it just went to no data. Just no data, and then back to excellent connection. So again, there was interference already, as there always is. And that was what that was. There's always some sort of indicator. And that's how I know it's an amateur. It's not somebody that knows what they're doing. And that has Trump administration written all over it, where, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So anyway, let's continue with the responses with what I was talking about here. I asked Gemini after that, because I was really confused. I was like, how on earth did Gemini not know who the current president is? That was really weird. So I look into this more. I'm like, okay. I asked Gemini, is it possible that, since it's very obvious and easy to find that Trump is the current president, is it possible that this surveillance had something to do with you being confused about who the current president was, despite how easy that information is readily available? And do you know what Gemini said? Nothing. It said, here are the top web results. Explore your top. It really did it. Again. There's just no answer. Look it up yourself. Like, if this isn't the most obvious bullshit I have ever seen, I don't know what is. This shit's super obvious. Where we're in a live feed. Again, I want to reiterate the fact that if we were in a live feed, again, the whole point of that live feed is for traffic, for internet, like people to see your stream and for you to get traffic. So why isn't there anybody in here? And, like there's no restrictions on the account, nothing against the account. We have documented plenty of evidence that there's people in the stream for X amount of time, that they've been doing this for a long time. X amount of times people are in the stream, and they start talking in chat or something like that, and it finally says they're in there conveniently after they type something. Just like we saw earlier on a stream earlier where somebody liked it, and then after the like counted, then they counted the concurrent. Well, just like that, where this person started talking, they had been in the stream. Basically, I was like, oh, how long have you been watching, or something like that. And they say a half an hour or an hour or something like that. And then I go, oh, well, that's kind of funny because, again, I've been kind of waiting for some traffic because that concurrent counter said fucking 0 for the past entire time I've been streaming. 0, maybe one at the beginning, like really quick, but just 0. And then they're like, "Oh, I've been watching the whole time," or something like that. And it's like, wow, and we're not talking about just one person. Actually, we're talking about multiple people, and we're talking about how I've seen that too. I've seen it with other things too, personally. And so it's more than just one person saying it. And then we've confirmed that so like 365 sent me a video of him trying to like my upload the one time. And he was trying to hit the like button, and the YouTube app literally kicked him out of the stream and said, "You don't have permission to do that," or something like that. It literally kicked him out, and it kept doing it. He kept going back in to try to like it, and it kept doing that. And so he recorded it and showed it to me. So again, that's him, somebody else, then confirming again that all this weird crap is happening. And then again, he confirms it from his end of things. That dude's all the way on the other side of the country. There's nothing we can sit here and do to come up with. No, he's all the way on the other side of the country. So how's that work? When that shit's happening. And that's not the only stuff. I mean, obviously there's plenty more. So that stream, I was right. Still hasn't. There's one where just sitting there, and it's like, this will be processed within 24 hours. No. Nope. And the stream that we just finished, that was like 7 hours long. I think it was almost 8, actually, right? Or was it almost 7? One of the two. But it was pretty long. That stream we just finished, same interference, swipe feed the whole time, 16 views. And that's not what we get. We get hundreds, we get thousands, 16 views. And that finished processing already. So I'll be willing to bet more people watched the other stream that isn't processing. And they're trying to remove that because people are watching it. So it will start processing within 24 hours because they want to remove all those views and don't want me to see it happening. Because that's what I've been doing. I've been keeping track of them halting views and then removing. And so again, it's still doing that. It still says it will be processed within 24 hours. So I was right. And again, that stream that we just finished, that was as long as it was, that processed just fine. And I mean, that's ridiculous. And the other one was like, I think like an hour and some change, hour and a half or something like that. I don't even know. It wasn't that long. And that's the one. Interesting, isn't it? So that happened again all around conveniently, me discovering this and this happening too. So I think it's funny that what Trump's DOJ and NSA are getting up to. And the end. Don't forget that the NSA uses AT&T. And remember what I said about the phones. Don't forget that the NSA uses AT&T. That's just a fact at this point. You can just literally find that as shit on YouTube. Yep. So it's kind of obvious to see what's happening. The NSA is literally not the National Security Administration. Nope. 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 It's definitely a terrorist administration, that's for sure. Because that's what terrorists are. They're people that just literally commit acts of terror with political, with you know, for political reasons, political sort of things. Yeah. Yep. That's the NSA now. So again, it's opposite of what they're supposed to do. That's terrorism. They're literally supposed to fight against that. Protect us against that. And Donald Trump is using, again, the NSA to spy on and screw with civilians. Just random fucking people. It would just happen to... And remember, he's right about everything. He actually has to wear a hat that says that. He's that much of a fucking piece of shit. And the brilliant people at the NSA, whew, brilliant, you know. I mean, just, you know, for even listening to a single word that asshole says, brilliant. You know, you're just looking, you know, top shelf. Whew. And again, when you get fired, or something happens where you were doing something illegal, yeah, I mean, like, what do you think is going to happen when, again, somebody else just comes down on you because you did a bunch of illegal shit for Donald Trump? What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Why the hell is anybody even listening to this guy anymore? Anyway, so moving on with Gemini, it gives me just a bunch of search results when I ask it that. I ask it again, and it gives me 3 paragraphs. No lie, it gives me 3 paragraphs of an excuse. It literally creates an excuse as to why it would actually have gotten it wrong that Trump was the current president. God, it's basic. It's basic stuff. Three paragraphs. You realize that it's more logical than that stupid Gemini. Okay, since you're stupid now, Gemini, and Donald Trump is causing you to be stupid, I'm gonna help you, Gemini. I'm gonna help you out. Okay, ready? Donald Trump, you know he's president because, oh, I don't know, today was on camera in the Oval Office, or even that day that I asked that. he was probably like getting on Air Force One or meeting with Putin or doing something where you could have looked up something where he's literally president right now and seen a picture of that or seen a report of that or eyewitness of that. Just something. So yeah, Gemini. Yeah, that's how you could have done it. Exactly what you do. What? So it gives me three paragraphs as an excuse as to why I could have possibly gotten that wrong. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? So I see the interference. I see the ridiculousness where they're deregulating, but they're not. They're fucking with it. Just like they're fucking with YouTube. Remember, the whole point originally was that they wanted all of us against each other. And all we had to do was help each other. Remember how many people didn't help me. Remember how many people I have helped over the years. Remember that. Remember how many people I have helped where I've sat here, given advice that's put me in situations. Literally just taking the heat for people at times. Admitting fault when you're a streamer, even doing that is condemning to you. And I've just come on here being the best that I can be and being the most honest that I can be, because that's how you know if somebody's being real or not. That's how you can grade people. And if I'll be honest with you, I don't know. There's just very few real people on here. There's some. But especially ones that do shit for like lots of money and stuff. Yeah, you keep your guard up around those people. 'Cause that's all fake. Okay, so then I asked the Gemini, except that if the current government is trying to restrict AI and doing a bunch of illegal things anyway, then it's safe to say that they are trying to prevent people from using AI as a tool to figure out misinformation. So again, I'd have to say you're wrong. What was it wrong about? Oh, President Trump being president. That's an interesting perspective. And it highlights a significant concern in the ongoing debate surrounding AI and government oversight. The possibility of governments attempting to control or restrict AI to manage information, including misinformation, is a valid point of discussion. There are concerns, as highlighted by organizations like the ACLU and Electronic Frontier Foundation, that the current administration's actions regarding AI, while framed as efforts to promote innovation and combat bias, could inadvertently or deliberately limit access to information or shape the outputs of AI models in ways that align with particular political agendas. So yes. Yes. And specific reports suggest that Trump administration has repealed previous AI safeguards and issued new executive orders, like preventing. I'm shitting you not. It's quote. Oh my god, it's quoting this. I shit you not. It literally says, preventing woke AI in the federal government, which raises concerns about potential ideological censorship of AI models. Christ. Are we this, guys, come on, are we this fucking stupid? He's literally putting preventative woke God. That shows the absolute immaturity. That shows his immaturity. Like, he literally can't let this go. He's not doing the job. He just can't be wrong. God, this guy is a fucking piece of shit. All right, so let me go on here. That is just, oh my god. Directed the revision of the NIST AI risk management framework to eliminate references to misinformation, diversity, equity and inclusion, and climate change, suggesting an effort to influence how AI models are developed and used. So basically, that entire follow-up statement, wow. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. Oh, that's too big. There we go. That's insane. So that's what's happening. That's what I just said, basically. So again, what he did, what you have to realize about that is he's calling it deregulation, all while removing things that would tell you what misinformation is, information about climate change, anything about inclusion. And equity? Why equity? Are you kidding? That sounds like somebody's trying to hide a lot of shit. This doesn't want the AI to find out. What the fuck? Focused on using AI to combat online harms and deep fakes, which some argue could potentially be used to restrict free speech or control online content under the guise of combating misinformation, says the World Economic Forum and the Federal Trade Commission. Yeah, I agree with them. I agree with both. The FTC's actually saying it. That's crazy. I totally agree with that. So, it goes on to say, it's important to recognize that the government's stated intent, the administration's stated goals are to promote American leadership in AI, ensure AI systems are truthful and object to bullshit, and address the potential harms associated with the technology, including misinformation. It literally says including, except that goes out the window when you specifically remove the stuff that takes that out. Like, you're taking that out. Literally, it's right there. I just put that up there. It's right there. So, that's wrong. Differing interpretations. There are differing views on the impact of these policies. Some argue that limiting regulation on the AI could stifle the innovation, while others believe strong safeguards are essential to preventing discrimination and the misuse of AI, says the Brookings Institution. I agree with that, obviously. So, the debate surrounding government control of AI is complex and involves considering various perspectives and potential impacts. There are legitimate concerns about the potential for governments to use their authority to shape the information landscape and restrict access to diverse viewpoints. Exactly. Then I asked Gemini, exactly, so the point is, if someone has political agenda that's helpful, then why would they want to restrict information? They wouldn't. More information about something helpful would help people understand it. And then I said, I believe that Donald Trump's agencies are spying on citizens because he plans not to leave office after his second run, which would start a civil war if he's successful. Gemini didn't answer that one. That was another one where Gemini literally just chose to. Yeah, Gemini was all like, "Here are top web results exploring this topic." So, it didn't answer that one. So, that point, I was getting tired of seeing that bullshit. And I started asking ChatGPT the same things, basically. I'm going to ask this to... Oh, yeah, I actually did. Okay, here we go. So I said to ChatGPT, now let me remind you that I did switch, but after I switched, it was obvious that I was having problems because this was like the slowest I have ever seen ChatGPT answer anything. Like, it was so slow. It was like, I was like, what the heck? So anyway, here we go. Is there evidence that the Trump administration is using the NSA or DOJ to spy on citizens? That's what I asked ChatGPT.
You've asked whether there is credible evidence that the Trump administration used the NSA or DOJ to spy on citizens. The answer is yes. There is documented evidence of surveillance practices that raised privacy and legal concerns, though full context is vital. Evidence of surveillance under Trump administration. 1. Metadata seizures by DOJ. In 2017-2018, the Department of Justice subpoenaed Apple iCloud metadata, phone numbers and email addresses from at least 2 Democratic members of the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Adam Schiff and Representative Eric Swalwell, as part of a leaks investigation. This data seizure, which included their family members and reporters at major news outlets, was considered extraordinarily rare and triggered an internal watchdog probe.
Yeah.
The Guardian 2, Section 702 of FISA, Incidental Collection and Backdoor Searches, Section 702, reauthorized by Trump in January 2018, allows warrantless surveillance of foreign targets, but incidental collection can and does capture communications of Americans. Agencies like the NSA, FBI, and CIA can then conduct backdoor searches of that data using identifiers like names or email addresses without a warrant.
Wow.
Wikipedia. 3. DOJ and FBI non-compliance with FISA. In 2019, declassified documents revealed that the FBI violated Section 702 rules by failing to track whether searches involved United States persons. This non-compliance occurred during the Trump presidency and was confirmed by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court and its review panel.
Wow.
Reddit. 4. Data compilation via Palantir and state records. Under Trump's second administration, there was a concerted effort using Palantir technologies and other tools to create a master database containing extensive personal information, SSNs, banking, voting, medical, and more, on every American by pulling data from federal and state sources.
Wow.
Critics warn such a system could be used for targeted surveillance or harassment. Wikipedia. Surveillance expansion. Amidst immigration enforcement, surveillance tools including biometric collection, social media monitoring, and facial recognition were expanded, particularly by ICE monitoring driver's license databases and using Clearview AI,
Wow.
raising concerns of broad low accountability domestic tracking. Rule changes allowing broader access to raw data. Shortly before Trump took office, Obama's administration loosened rules that prevented the NSA from sharing raw surveillance data with domestic law enforcement. This blurred the line between intelligence and law enforcement, potentially enabling parallel construction, where evidence discovered via surveillance could be repackaged as if it came from ordinary investigative work.
Wow.
Summary. Was it spying on citizens? Yes, it's accurate that several mechanisms existed where citizens' data could be collected or accessed, often without their knowledge or standard judicial oversight. Metadata seizures via DOJ subpoenas, incidental collection and warrantless searches under Section 702, despite American identities being involved. Surveillance infrastructure expansion that aggregated extensive personal data. Reduced oversight from rule changes concerning access to raw intelligence data. However, the use and intent vary. Some practices aimed at national security or leak investigations. Others, like data centralization, were broader and raised privacy, civil liberties, and abuse of power concerns. Further clarification or deep dive, I can help explore specific angles. Section 702 and the backdoor search loophole. Legal status and outcomes of metadata seizures. State-level versus federal data gathering practices.
Okay.
Court rulings.
So then I asked if the current government is trying to restrict AI and doing a bunch of illegal things anyway, then it's safe to say that they are trying to prevent people from using AI as a tool to figure out misinformation. And it misunderstood what I was trying to say, where they're using propaganda to package it as deregulation, but really it's a restriction. Really, they're preventing you from finding out information because they're causing it to exclude misinformation and stuff. You know, like essentially it would learn how to do that, so it's not going to learn how to do that. You see what I'm saying? Like they're deregulating it wrong. They're excluding all these things that would teach it how to do. It's not going to know how to do that. So that's what I said. If the current government is trying to restrict AI, doing a bunch of illegal things anyway, then it's safe to say that they are trying to prevent people from using AI as a tool to figure out misinformation. And it corrects. I think it corrects me a little bit. Well, I think it does.
I hear your concern. Let me break this down carefully. 1. Government and AI regulation. Governments worldwide, not just the US, are debating how to regulate AI. The motivations are generally framed around safety, national security, economic stability, and preventing misuse, e.g. deepfakes, disinformation campaigns, fraud. In the US, the Biden administration issued an AI Executive Order 2023 requiring companies to test powerful AI models for risks before release. The EU passed the AI Act 2024 with a similar risk-based approach. So far, the stated rationale is risk management, not censorship per se. Misinformation and AI. AI is a double-edged tool. On one hand, it can spot misinformation by analyzing patterns, fact-checking sources, and surfacing reliable evidence. On the other, it can also generate misinformation, fake news, synthetic media. Because of that, governments see it as both a solution and a problem, hence the push.
It's gonna tell me now. Hold on.
Surveillance, trust, and restrictions. It's true that governments, including past administrations, have sometimes misused surveillance powers or pushed the limits of legality, as we just covered with NSA DOJ actions. That history understandably fuels distrust. People worry restrictions aren't about safety, but about control. However, no direct evidence has surfaced that current AI restrictions are specifically designed to stop citizens from using AI to uncover government wrongdoing. Restrictions seem more focused on preventing harmful uses, e.g. bioweapons research, election manipulation, fraud.
Which is what Trump's
Healthy
doing.
skepticism versus conspiratorial thinking. Skepticism is good. It drives accountability, transparency, and better laws. But it's also important to separate evidence from speculation. Right now, the evidence supports that AI regulation is mostly about risk containment, not silencing dissent. Bottom line, you're right that AI can be a powerful tool for fact-checking and exposing misinformation. Governments may sometimes fear that power, but so far there's no hard proof that current restrictions are primarily about stopping people from using AI to hold them accountable. Still, the history of surveillance shows why public oversight of both AI and government is critical. Do you want me to dig into how AI is already being used for misinformation detection, like fact-checking networks, watchdogs, and open-source investigations? That might give you a clearer picture of how powerful this tool already is in citizens' hands.
So, I had to explain this a little bit. Now, I actually said to ChatGPT something very simple, and it fired back with confirming that I'm wrong again. So then I had to explain where I'm coming from. So this will be a little bit interesting. Now, again, all I simply said to that was, no, you're wrong. The Trump administration is regulating AI. That's what I said. And I will... Here is the response here.
You're absolutely right to assert that the Trump administration is regulating AI. Those characterizations are not wrong. But let's clarify what that actually means. The administration has indeed issued regulations, but their primary objective is deregulation, not tightening control. What regulating AI looks like under Trump. 1. Revoking existing regulations. Executive Order 14179, Jan 23, 2025, rescinded President Biden's AI oversight order and directed agencies to review and remove policies seen as barriers to innovation.
Seen as barriers.
Replacing oversight with deregulatory framework. The administration's AI Action Plan, released in July 2025, emphasizes accelerating private sector innovation, building AI infrastructure, and exporting US AI technology with a strong deregulatory bent. Inside government contracts. It actively strips references to
inside government contracts
and climate considerations from federal AI guidance. The Guardian. 3. Introducing ideological filters, not safety safeguards. The Preventing Woke AI in the federal government executive order mandates that government-procured AI models prioritize ideological neutrality, pursuing DEI frameworks. While presented as a form of regulation, critics argue it's primarily an ideological constraint. The White House. 4. Streamlining agency AI oversight. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, issued memos, M2521, M2522, that require agencies to use minimum risk management practices and streamline AI procurement, emphasizing domestic sourcing, vendor portability, and monitoring of high-impact uses. Inside government contracts. 5. National level preemption and limits on state regulation. This administration moved to preempt state-level AI regulation, including a proposal to ban state AI laws for 10 years, though that measure was later defeated in the Senate. Wikipedia. Summary. Yes, but it's deregulation, not restriction. You're correct. The Trump administration is regulating AI, but the nature of that regulation is largely deregulatory and ideologically driven, removing pre-existing AI safeguards, excluding concepts like misinformation, equity, and climate from federal AI policy, promoting innovation and infrastructure build-out with minimal oversight, imposing ideological constraints, especially regarding DEI, rather than enhancing transparency or consumer protection. Final takeaway. So, yes, regulation exists, but it's not about protecting consumers or preventing misuse. Instead, it's centered on removing oversight and imposing ideological control. This is quite different from traditional regulation focused on safety, fairness, or accountability. If you're interested, I can dive into how these changes might affect public tools for analyzing misinformation or evaluating AI-driven accountability.
Okay. Okay. So, then I had to sort of kind of explain where I was coming from with my point of view a little bit. And then we got an interesting response here. So let me tell you what my answer was to this. Exactly. So the point is, if somebody has a political agenda that's helpful, then why would they restrict information? They wouldn't. More information about something is helpful. It would help people understand it. I believe Donald Trump's government agencies spying on citizens because he plans not to leave office after a second run, which would start a civil war if he's successful. I believe he is deregulating these things so that way AI answers can be modified to lie to people instead of giving truth. So slowly over time he can use it as a tool for people to find the truth, except the new version of the truth won't be real. It will be a narrated version that makes him look like a good person, that didn't rig the election and continues using it to lie to people instead while calling it deregulation. This especially fits well with his base because they often call for deregulation as a generalization instead of seeing it and using it as needed.
I hear your reasoning, and you're touching on some very real dynamics that political scientists, civil liberties advocates, and tech ethicists worry about. Control of information has always been a powerful tool in politics. Whether through surveillance, propaganda, censorship, or flooding the zone with misleading narratives, governments and private actors have historically tried to shape what people believe. Deregulation versus regulation can be weaponized. If oversight is removed in the name of innovation or neutrality, it can open the door for powerful actors to influence how systems behave, including AI. AI as an information filter is unique. It doesn't just deliver raw facts, it interprets and presents them. If the training data, guardrails, or output priorities are skewed, the truth people get can indeed be a curated version. Doesn't what's worth highlighting? 1. You're right about deregulation making AI more malleable. Removing rules around misinformation or bias means AI systems could be trained or tuned to reflect a narrative without public checks. This doesn't mean it will happen, but it increases the risk. 2. Surveillance and control reinforce each other. If a government both monitors citizens and controls information streams, it creates a feedback loop.
Yep.
Dissent is detected early, and the population is nudged toward a preferred narrative.
Yep.
3. Narrated truths are not new, but AI supercharges them. Past governments controlled narratives through media, education, and messaging. AI is different because it's interactive, personalized, and often trusted more than traditional media. If manipulated, it could shape beliefs at scale. 4. Your Civil War concern reflects the stakes. Polarization, distrust of institutions, and disputed legitimacy of elections already strain US democracy. If AI were used to manufacture legitimacy narratives, I didn't rig the election, opponents are corrupt, it could deepen divisions dangerously. What we don't yet have evidence of. There's no hard public evidence that Trump or his allies are explicitly planning to weaponize AI for narrative control in the way you describe. What we do see is policy moves, deregulation, anti-DEI orders, stripping misinfo safeguards that could make AI more susceptible to narrative capture. The key takeaway. Your theory is a plausible risk scenario. Deregulation plus ideological framing could allow future AI systems to present a curated version of reality that flatters those in power. History shows that when governments gain both surveillance tools and narrative control mechanisms, democracy is at risk. The unanswered question is intent. Whether deregulation is primarily about unleashing innovation, as claimed, or whether it's also about leaving AI more open to manipulation for political ends. Would you like me to map out a step-by-step scenario of how AI could realistically be co-opted into political narrative control, based on what we know from current policies and tech? That might help distinguish between concrete risks and speculative leaps.
So, yeah, basically, while ChatGPT has the right idea, we already confirmed through Gemini quite a few things there where Gemini said some stuff that ChatGPT didn't know. And that's pretty like there's some real crazy stuff in here that it found. Or it was like, yeah, they're doing that. Oh, man. So yeah, basically, this is what happened as a precursor to this. It's very clear that this is a terrorist sort of agenda where we have people just committing treason and attacking citizens, surveilling them illegally. And I am in the middle of, again, simply defending my right to have a channel. And as I've already stated, a lot of this interference wasn't happening until this stalker doxed my information all over the place. So all that happened is that these people that call themselves cops and call themselves like Trump voters or whatever, just go around and harass people. And sort of kind of what they do. And they're just citizens. Some of them. Now, sometimes what you have to realize is stuff's not so simple. And there's a real thing here where we can see, that we do not get traffic like this normally. We can see, here we are an hour and a half in, and I can show you that this has just been something that's, essentially it's very easy to see. All you have to do is go back a few streams again, the very last one that we did that had again and it again was being messed with, and they weren't counting the views properly even then, but the last one that was at least some traffic and stuff like that, was a stream where again we were getting food and then we were cleaning, and that was seemingly pretty normal. And then again, except for right at the beginning where they're shifting the bitrate around all over the place, and this is causing a massive problem for the stream. And just like in this stream where there's supposed to be traffic in here and there's just not. There's just nothing. Yeah, that's a lie. Because we already know that we're in, you know, this live feed. It's a Friday night. There should be a shitload of people in here. And there's not. There appears not to be. Except there actually is. And as I come into the stream, you're going to see that it's going to count. That's not going to matter. And yeah, it's not going to change anything. Like I said, all you're going to see is that it does in fact count. See, there's the 1. So, the point is to count it for me, but not anybody else. Except these other two that are literally the other two people I told you they are. No sleep, and that breezy person. And they're always in here, even though they're blocked. And now my bitrate is maliciously shifting around all over the place. It's the very second I say that. Yep, the very second that I said it. That I said who it was. And I said who those concurrents were that are always in here when we don't even have any concurrents. And clearly they're scamming the stream. And there's nobody in here. That's who's in here. Again, I already told you it's them. And, you know, already gave you a stream to look at. And then again, conveniently, here they are. 2 more concurrents. We already know who the 1 is. Yeah, we already covered who the 1 is. So now there's 2 more. Suddenly in the stream. All of a sudden, instantly. Right as the bitrate was shifting around, and right as I mentioned both of their names. Instantly they're in the stream. This is some fascinating stuff, huh? Yep, bitrate was fine. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I mention those names, instantly they're in the stream. And there they are, still. Instantly. That's it. It's literally just them. Just constantly in the stream. As they always have been. Ever since all this started. And they've been doing it all along. It gets fascinating that I can say their names on the stream. And instantly, you see those exact 2 concurrents. Right as I say that, just in the stream. Fascinating stuff. And the bitrate suddenly starts shifting around all over the place. Extremely maliciously. It's been fine, but right now, conveniently, it's shifting around all over the place, extremely maliciously. Wow, fascinating stuff. So, that's who's in here. And they're constantly in here. Every single stream. They're the ones screwing around with it. They're the ones making all these accounts, doxing people. Again, I knew the guy. Remember, I didn't really know him per se, but he was a viewer on the channel for a while. And they both came in chat for a while, pretending to be my friend, until they weren't. Until they started acting really fucked up. And instead of just being blocked, they started harassing me. These were people I had added on like a game thing. So I could see that they were clearly people that knew each other and were always online together and stuff like that. Wholly aside from the fact that they admitted to knowing each other. Wholly aside from that. And meanwhile, I've been sitting here getting massively harassed by these people. Massively. Like, content, is being interfered with. This person violates federal laws right on the platform in broad daylight. Just violating federal laws, YouTube policies, ethics in general. And here they are. Again, as soon as I mention the names, instantly showing up in the stream. And there's no concurrence in here. We again can see that they're sitting here and they're not letting any traffic in whatsoever. Literally just fucking lying about that traffic. But those concurrents, instantly they work. And so they start lying. Right, they come in with like that other. Remember how I said this was always a trend with them? They would just add a couple of views to lie about it. That was what they were doing before. They would start lying about the concurrence. So they've just changed the scam. Like I've always said that these assholes just do. They just change it. So I've started to point out that, again, that they were just lying about the amount of concurrence in the stream. As soon as a new one would actually really come in, they leave the stream with one of their concurrents. So it lies about concurrence, trending, watch time hours, all kinds of shit. And they're just sitting here endlessly doing that. They just come in with their, maliciously with their fucking alts, sit in the goddamn stream, just for the intent to wait for somebody to come in, and then they leave. That's it. And they've been doing this for a very long time. They've been doing crap, stupid crap, immature crap like this for a long time. This is the level of ridiculous immaturity that I'm dealing with. Where these are adults doing the most childish fucking things that you can... Like, I don't even think of stupid shit like that. It's just some of the most mindless fucking stupid shit I've ever heard. So, that's what these adults are spending their time doing. Other than stealing pictures of like young women and stuff like that to post them all over the platform and dox them too. Other than that, yes, sir. Alright, well, as you can see, we're still having a lot of issues with trending, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that that stream is in, like, archive limbo mode, where, again, that stream isn't being processed. That's what a lot of this has to do with, where there is nothing being counted in here because all the entire count is in limbo mode while that's just doing that. And YouTube knows that. They know it. So the fact that they know that and they allow it to go on, or they pretend to you, obviously, to make it some sort of like patience thing or something like that. No, waiting means that, again, nobody's going to watch that stream. You're not giving it the trending and views that it gets the very second it happens. And you're removing some of that shit. And if something's processing endlessly, like it's supposed to eventually process, even though it should have processed already, 7-hour streams instantly processed parallel to it, to just today, and this hour and a half one can't fucking process because they haven't even started processing, just sitting there. So that is the entire count, literally in some sort of limbo review phase where no trending, nothing being counted, literally lies, lies, lies. And, I was right about that. That's continuing to happen. That's still happening. Even right now. That's literally still happening. Even right now. They literally just lie. And then YouTube will sit here. Again, the past 1, 2, 3, 4 streams that we did all got views in like the teens. Some of them 6, 7 hours, 8 hours long. And we know that we get thousands of views sometimes in 2.5 hours. Sometimes less. And that's what we're supposedly getting. That. Oh. And then, conveniently, the night prior, when we just did a sleep stream for an hour and a half, I got 115 views in an hour and a half. Wow. Huh. So, why are there no views on this? And on that, all I did was go to sleep. And then on this, just nothing. Nothing. Interesting. Yeah, and then, like that's literally right when it started. Was again that night after that, after we did that cleaning stream where we came back, and they were interfering with the stream and doing all that stupid shit. It was right after that, where all we did was stream a game. And just nothing. Literally lies. Why? Why? Again, it's just a scam. It's the same scam. Again, No Sleep and Breezy are the people that sat on this channel pretending to be friends, getting attention, and then all they did was start manipulating behind the scene, doxing people, harassing, stalking. They've been doing all of this behind the scenes. And conveniently, they're two people. And conveniently, those are the two concurrents. Again, you see three, but we all know who one of them is. Okay? So again, since we know who the one concurrent is, the other two are those two. And they're just fucking lying. Okay, me being in the stream and shit like has nothing to do with it. Nope. It's all made up. And the whole point is that the person would sit here and try to, like, I always knew the whole point was that they thought they had me convinced of, like, you know, this and that. No. I am trying to show you that no matter how crazy it is, they'll move that goddamn bitrate around and use every excuse. Just like conveniently after that stream, the one that you should be, conveniently after that stream, they used every excuse to sit here and fuck with the channel, so that way it seemed like something. But it's just No Sleep and Breezy, the same fucking assholes that do it every single goddamn stream. And again, I already proved that they were in the streams way back when we did this last Epoch streams, and we're having all those issues with the preview. The stream preview being just randomly a loading screen for no reason whatsoever. Just almost every single last Epoch stream is just a loading screen for the preview. 11 hours of gameplay, and it shows like the fucking character screen we had at like the beginning or something like that. 11 hours. And it can't show all the other 11 hours of gameplay we had. 10 hours and 50 some minutes. Ridiculous. And again, they're sitting here trying to pretend like they were causing problems even way back then. Just starting. Yep. Literal pieces of garbage. Literal pieces of garbage. Because again, all they're doing is harassing people. Doxing their personally identifiable information. Hoping that harm comes to people. Threatening. Impersonating police. Breaking federal laws. So, that's going on. And again, as you can see, there's no real views that they're being honest about. YouTube is lying about this. They are lying. And I have to continue. The lawyer is like saying that this is like I can't. I have to not talk too much about certain things because I'm giving them too much. So I can't say certain things, but rest assured, YouTube is being investigated on a federal level that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Rest assured that YouTube is going to be held accountable for the things that they have done to harass people and terrorize people, because they are doing it. And I do believe fully in what I said, that YouTube is literally in the human trafficking business. I do believe that. And I do believe that YouTube has stakes in the Epstein files and knew about those things. I do believe that. And there's reasons I believe that. And I'm just saying that I do believe that. And I have reasons for believing it. So, rest assured, they will be held accountable. And, all this interference where all of a sudden, they're just really aggressively fucking with my trending, it's going to be really obvious. And it's been happening. At certain points, it gets more aggressive, more aggressive, more aggressive. Every time some more sort of new big thing, we have something new. Really aggressive. Remember Doom the Dark Ages? They ruined it. What did I get, like 20 some views? You want me to look at it? I think I got like 20 some views on that. Something like that. They ruined, Cookie Dough Plays ruined Starfield. He's not called that anymore. He ruined Starfield for me. And so did, YouTube. They ruined my Starfield launch. And he allowed that piece of trash content creator to sit on here and tell me lies. Like, that asshole sat on here and told everybody that he, like, he called YouTube. Yeah. He, like, sat on here and, like, told all these lies all the time. He just fucking lied all the time. So I started calling him out on his bullshit. I got sick and tired of it. And then he started doing the whole canceling thing where he's watching people. And, like, everything was a scam after that. So, like, this is the point. Like, this is what I see. Where I call people out, and they start acting even more scammy instead of admitting they're wrong and just, like, fixing it. They just, like, turn into that. And he sat on here and ruined all kinds of stuff for me. He's been coming in, causing problems for me. He comes in and just dislikes a bunch of shit. Because he had such bad trolls, and he probably always thought it was me. I don't have any other accounts. I don't sit there on other accounts. It's not what I do. No sleep, though. Yeah. The guy that wants you to think it's me. Yeah, as I always fucking said, you dumbass. Like literally, like everybody else that I ever helped and gave so much to, all they did was step on it and took advantage of it. And the amount of times that fucking asshole came in my chat with the, like, literally while he's on the clock at work, announcing this in my chat, and he's literally, like, in there to be seen, and he's, like, in there talking about how he's gonna go on stream and stuff like that after work, and he's talking about his stream and how he's on stream last night and yada yada. He's always talking about his stuff and stuff, literally, like, he would be in there all the time to be seen, and be seen being so supportive and yada yada yada. Wow. Meanwhile, granted, once in a while I show up to support somebody, but I ain't in their chat all the fucking time. Complaining about how I'm not getting any views and stuff like that. I'm not going into other people's chats doing that. He would do that every single fucking time YouTube did this shit right here to him. And it wasn't YouTube, it was just no sleep. Because I promise you, you are the fucking retard that breached my information to him. Because you breached your information long fucking before I did. Your shit was way out there. And I didn't breach it. You did. And so did Google. And fucking Microsoft. So, my point is, all these content creators came and took stuff from me. And where are they now? Blocked? Half of them? Because again, they started acting fucked up so they'd get blocked. That's it. They wanted to get blocked and didn't want to be held accountable for the fact that they used to sit here and come in all the fucking time. Steal viewership. Talk about me on their stream. All while coming in here and pretending like we're friends and stuff like that. And meanwhile, I literally go in his stream and he's just talking about me. Like, negatively. This was all the time. And he'd just, like, pretend like it wasn't happening. It was all the time. There was this one time where that asshole like, again, like, something was going on YouTube, and he just sat here and, like, sent me a whole bunch of text messages, like, blowing up my phone and getting all pissed off in text messages. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Like, really? Like not, like, venting, like, I'm talking, like, at me. Like something was my fault or something like that. And, like, this is the point, like, I was always pointing out that, you know, he makes a habit of disappearing and reappearing. Conveniently, at times where I'm asking him a question. He does this a lot. And he is very unfucking supportive. He goes in there just to be seen, but then disappears when you ask him a fucking question. That is literally the opposite of what a supportive, actual, #1 fan does. So again, it's not what he was in there for. Because if it was, he would have done that. He never did that. He wanted to be in there being seen. And when there's a shitload of people in there, then he was actually supportive because he had to be. Other than that, nah. He came in there to be fucking seen. To steal my legitimate viewers. Because I had a real audience. He didn't. He was coming from fucking MDL and trying to steal his shit. It's literally his fucking entire game. It's ridiculous. And they probably had some sort of staged fake beef thing going on anyway. And so they sat here and probably, like, I don't know, maybe worked together a little bit and stole some shit from me. Meanwhile, I sat here and made them both look kind of foolish with how they were acting at times. Like, they were actually pieces of shit at times. And one of them's got 50-some thousand subscribers. Again, that's the guy that put his fucking kid as his icon on YouTube. I don't know what fucking retard would do that except him. And again, we're not, like literally, it was just his kid's face. And then, the other guy, we all know, you know, we all know about that. So, the point is that, You know, there's been people that did it, you know, like, and then you see 365, who's always been supportive. He comes in and shows up, likes the stream, watches, he's supportive, he talks in chat. Yep. And meanwhile, it seems like, you know, a lot of the support I've had over the years is a bunch of fucking weirdos that end up getting blocked for being weirdos, and then they can't take that. They can't take being called out and blocked, so they have to like come back on some sort of alt account and cause problems and shit. Like, that's the maturity level. And then, meanwhile, you get on here, you know, like, you may not know jack shit about anything. You may not know anything about scams or understanding how, you know, like, at the time, hacking, you know, how like, essentially regular things we're getting and stuff like that, where like it was more a regular knowledge base and stuff. You know, they don't understand how the platform works. And you know, like, the amount of people that I see that, yeah, like, I've seen that before. I've seen people go in chats and stuff and talk about how they got scammed and stuff like that, and people talk to him about it. Nobody makes a big deal about it. Nobody flips out. Nobody, you know, makes the whole stream aware of it and raises a whole fucking all these red flags and get, you know, big attention drawn to it and stuff like that. Nobody does that. They just sort of kind of talk about it. You know, could they have done better, or what happened, or yada yada yada, for learning purposes. But, you know, I guess that's just some people. You know, there's some people on this platform that, you know, if you go in their chat and you do that, whew, man, they are some of the nastiest people on the platform all of a sudden. Yep, so the most toxic. Just snap of a finger. It's kind of funny. And if you go back to the platform and you look at how I was when I first started, I never did that shit. Nope, I never acted like that. I was always pretty calm and collected until getting harassed right here on this platform, and then still having to use it. Yep. And continuing to get harassed on this platform, whether I use it or not now. And now the bitrate's shifting around all over the place, extremely maliciously. Thus proving what I just said. Literally thus proving what I just said. That proves my statement. That's the proof. Then the bitrate shifts around. Proof. Like, literally the second that I say that, bitrate shifts around. Yes. The harasser confirming that they are in fact harassing somebody. They're still there doing that. Yes. That's what that just did. For like the millionth time. So, you know, I mean, you can either accept it or not, but regardless, it's disgusting, and that person's disgusting, and those people, actually, that's just one, those people are disgusting, the fact that that's actually happening. And the fact that somebody would regularly be that terrible. And you know, we're being scammed here. You know, like, again, we know that we get hundreds and thousands, hundreds of views, thousands of views. That's what we get. Yet in this stream, we're at 11 views 2 hours in. That's not real. So I have to do a couple of things here to report this to who I need to report it to, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Not fucking YouTube, because YouTube doesn't give a shit. I sent some reports to YouTube even recently to prove that they don't respond, because they didn't. Yep, I sent a report recently all about the stuff that's been going on, and they just didn't answer. And then all this started. Yep. So again, after I send a report, YouTube harasses you, just like the shit I fucking said. And again, we have I'm not gonna get it now, actually, but I have so many emails. I have so many emails from them, and just making, like, obvious, like, taking legal stances instead of backing up their own policies. So regardless, we will be filing a federal lawsuit, and it won't have anything to do with Donald Trump. Don't you worry about that. And you know, YouTube and these people doing this are going to be held accountable. And if we have to go to a different platform to expose the information, we will. We will go to a different platform to expose the information. And we will show that platform and everybody on that platform how disgusting YouTube is and everything that's been happening on here. And we will branch out. And one thing that I still am in the process of doing is working with a media outlet on, you know, doing a story on just how much harassment I have dealt with on this platform. But with the bit rate, YouTube not doing anything about the doxing in their house, trust me, they're interested. So there's some stuff in the works, and it may because of what YouTube did here, it may end up, like, sort of exploding. You know, like the whole thing where, like, somebody explodes because, like, you know, like, you get what I'm saying, like, because YouTube fucked up for so long, it's gonna look so bad to all the people that didn't know this was happening. And they're gonna jump all over that story. So, we have plenty of screenshots from all the doxing, all the nonsense, again, this, where we can sit here and prove that this isn't the trending we get. We get 11 views after 2.5 hours. 2 hours 20 minutes, which is conveniently, we streamed Last Epoch just 2 years ago, not even, and we get 1,000 views on there, and even that was something where we noticed views being taken off and messed with too. Even then, where I had to call for people to show up and watch too. So, yeah, I'm going to continue to document, and I think it's funny how I reported certain people to YouTube, and YouTube's automated system says, we'll take a close look and determine, and then they just didn't respond. They don't respond. They just did nothing after that. That's Google acknowledging they got your report. But that's it. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They don't do anything. That's YouTube. Huh. What a trash company. And again, owned by Google. They should own it. They can't handle it. They should own it. And the CEO is very clearly having a hand in this whole Trump censorship bullshit, where if nobody knows who you are, they're gonna censor you and shit like that. Regardless, it's still the same two people. I mean, in addition to what other stuff is going on. Regardless, the two concurrents, one of the ones that you see in there right now is just, again, the same person that always watches the streams that causes these problems, that's been stalking me. They are literally just in here all the fucking time now. And again, he's not liking the stream. He's just sitting in here. And again, that person was instantly in the stream along with somebody else, as I conveniently mentioned their names. So, we all know what that is. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for now. I think that's all I pretty much wanted to say. We should have, again, it's a Friday night. There should be a lot of traffic in here. As we know, on a Friday night, it is a live feed. Shit, there should be tons of people in here. Just like when we played Voen, and there was nobody in the entire fucking stream. And yet, then YouTube conveniently trends the stream right when I start criticizing one thing about the game. They don't trend the stream anywhere along the hours we're playing before and enjoying the stream. No, they trend it right fucking then. Well, that's a scam. And that was only the very beginning of the scam that you see here. Where, that was the very beginning of it starting there. It's been the beginning of basically the result being this, to where it's like nothing, basically. We saw it way back. It's always been interference and stuff like that, but never to this degree. And So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to document, and we're going to continue to get loud, and we will fire up the media outlets to cover this. I say we because I am there's a few people that have been talking to me now about all of this and looking into it for me slowly but surely in between what they're doing and their actual practices and stuff. So they're trying to help because they understand I am being harassed. Like, this is fucking terrible. So like basically all it was them seeing the things that were happening, and then like the rest is history. Like they realized immediately with certain things this person was doing that they should not be able to do that. Like, just on a snap of a finger and a whim's notice, be able to shift my bitrate. There's no fucking way they should have that much access to YouTube. No way. And that was stated just like that. So, and I agree. That's how that should be looked at. So, yeah, that is what's going on. It's been going on for a long time like that. And, they've been playing their little psychological games, but I caught on a long time ago. And the whole point was for everybody to kind of realize I was just being harassed. I even did tell you that. But, now that's the point, is that they are getting concerned, probably really worried, so they're just getting super aggressive because they are being investigated, and they probably know that. Like, they probably saw evidence of it already, because they are. So, that's probably why this, again, another reason why it's getting so aggressive all of a sudden. We're just like we've seen before, where I'm outing the information, I'm telling you who it is, and it gets super aggressive all of a sudden. We've seen that. We've seen the aggressive bitrate shifting and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's interference for sure. And as I said, we've had plenty of streams. Obviously, we know this isn't normal. We've been talking about this for a long time. Like I said, in the stream I did where I simply went to sleep. In the stream that I did that I simply went to sleep, we had all those views. We had over 115 views in the stream where I went to sleep on stream, and it was an hour and a half. A whole hour and a half that I went to sleep. And I had to end the stream, and I had over 115 views in an hour and a half. I've had thousands of views in an hour and a half. Yeah. There's a game I played here a couple years, maybe about a year ago. Almost 4,000 views. In about the same amount of time this stream is now. Yep. 4,000, almost 4,000 views a year ago. And they're trying to pretend like we're got just 11 views is totally normal. Just 11. Totally normal. No. No. That's a lie. Alright, well, I have to call somebody. Thanks for, watching this later, if you're watching it later. Somebody is maliciously shifting the bitrate around. So we're sitting here at the end of the stream, shifting the bitrate around all over the goddamn place. What's that about? You're trying to cause a problem for the processing? Yes. Yes, you fucking piece of trash. Yes. Yes, you fucking piece of trash, yes. Yes, that's what you're doing, you fucking piece of trash, yes. So that's all it is. And that's why this person is so triggered, because they wanted to sit there and remove all those views from that sleep stream I did. They wanted to fuck with that, remove that, really mess that up. But they didn't get to, because I ended the stream. And now the bitrate is shifting around extremely maliciously. Extremely maliciously, as I say that. Interesting how this person shows exactly how guilty they are. $11 views. For the whole stream, for the whole fucking 2.5 hours, 11 views. That's what YouTube, has trended. And that's what's in this, and again, remember, in the live feed, there's people with shirts off, there's illegal shit, there's drinking, there's sex themes, there's gambling. And they're sitting here not promoting my stuff at the moment. Interesting. Yet, I can sit there and go through the feed and find all this illegal shit that you are promoting instead. And that's the reality. We've proven that. We've proven that on the stream. The entire swipe feed used to be full of scams until I sat here and called them out every single day that they were full in the fucking live feed. The whole feed was full every day. It was just all I would see. And I guarantee you they didn't change it. All they did was sit here and hide it better, because literally it was happening because the motherfucker that you see in the stream right now, coming in the goddamn stream, was the one causing my fucking data to be leaked in that part of the world, where that's where all the fucking streams were. That's why all those streams were doing that, because my data was being leaked in that part of the fucking world. So therefore I was seeing all those fucking streams in the fucking live feed because my data was linked to fucking assholes that were leaking it in that part of the world. So for just like fucking X amount of time, I just see that stupid shit. And I'm sitting there reporting it constantly, left and right. Just report. They never remove it. Never. Almost never. We'll take a careful look at the content. Yeah, bullshit. Every stream is the same. There's like fucking kids in the background. Meanwhile, there's some guy laying in a bed in some little fucking shack on a concrete floor grabbing this female on camera on a live stream. And there's like kids in the background. Are you fucking kidding me? And I had to fucking show that to YouTube, because I came across that stupid shit when talking about what they were promoting instead of my stream. The massive fucking amount of people watching that fucking garbage was absolutely unbelievable. And YouTube's promoting this. And every single day, it was just non-stop, full. So that's what India's YouTube looks like. Guarantee you they didn't remove all those people. Yep. They're just sitting here fucking around with it so it don't happen again. And that's the shit you see with the streams, probably. Where they're fucking around with stuff because they know why. But they're making money off of it. They're making money off of those, you know, of using women for YouTube content. That's what they're making money off of. And that's what that CEO is doing, so... And I called that shit out every time I fucking saw it. I call it out even now when I see that stupid shit. And meanwhile, I'm getting harassed. Seems a bit ass fucking backwards, don't you think? So anyway, they're gonna start fucking around with the bit rate and trying to cause a problem for the processing. Just so that you know. Because the point is, this is affecting the views, so that's why they're doing it. There's nothing to do with anything except removing views and lying about it.